about 4 o'clock. Let's make dinner. Hey everybody, it's Amanda, and I am getting ready to make dinner for me and my husband. And I got everything set up, and I thought, why not have you guys make dinner with me? I've made roast chicken before. It's what we're having tonight. I have not made mashed potatoes on camera, so that might be interesting. And then I'm just making some frozen broccoli. It's literally nothing exciting. In fact, the rolls, I thought about making rolls, but I had these in the freezer, and I thought, thaw them and get them used, because they're actually pretty big and they take up a lot of freezer space. So I'm not even making that much, but you know what? You can hang out with me and we can have a good time. So let's make roast chicken. All right, I already have the chicken in the sink. There it is. And I threw it into the pan that I actually used last night for dinner. I had thrown something in the oven in that pan and it was dirty, but I didn't want to dirty another pan just to put the chicken in it to let it thaw in the fridge overnight. So I just threw the chicken in the plastic bag in that pan. And so I'm going to take the chicken out of that plastic bag, put it into a new fresh pan, and gonna add some water in it, get it all set up, and toss it in the oven. This is such a simple dinner, and it looks impressive. Like, my husband's gonna think I slaved, because he doesn't know any better. Even after, you guys, this year, we have been together 25 years this year. 25, can you believe that? I can't. Anyway, I'm gonna make that man some chicken. Okay, so I am cutting the chicken out of the bag, and I'm of course gonna rinse it out. This chicken was chicken that I actually processed myself. We bought it from our friends, Holler Homestead, and they raised it as local farmers. And I actually realized I hadn't processed this particular chicken, but I was still very happy because we processed it all together as friends and family, and it was just a really fun experience. So I feel special when I eat this chicken. But anyway, so I patted it dry, put butter on it, and now I'm putting water in the pan, and we're gonna use that to make our gravy. And I'm gonna put my little seasonings on it. Now I like just, you know, basic things: salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a little thyme on top. Of course, I do have a video where I made roast chicken and I stuffed it and I did everything perfectly. I'll link that at the top. But I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this in the oven and get that going so I can work on my mashed potatoes. Now, the potatoes, of course, they take a little time, but it's not the most complicated side dish by any means. You obviously have to peel the potatoes. These were potatoes that had actually started to sprout a little bit. So if you actually see, there's pieces that are cut off where the sprouts were. But you know, no big deal. I am not going to let anything go to waste. And so we are just going to use these potatoes up, and they're perfectly fine, as you can see. So I'm going to cube them up. And of course, you know, when you make mashed potatoes, the smaller the cubes, the quicker it's going to cook through and the faster it'll be for you to make your side dish. So it just takes a minute to cut it up into little pieces and get every single one of them done. You'll notice I'm putting it into my pan that's off camera. I don't have any water or anything in it because here in a moment, once I get all of them cut, I'm actually going to go ahead and rinse them all together in my sink. It's just how I like to do it. And you know, it only takes a second when you do it all together. So, and we're just about done here. And one thing I will say too, while I'm sitting here looking at my kitchen, is that my kitchen looks really good. I love those countertops. The ButcherBot countertops are amazing. And I will say too, as we're in the sink, one of my favorite things is this huge sink. And so I can go ahead and easily put my big pan in there, rinse it, fill it with water, get it ready to go on the stove. Okay, so I have the potatoes in here and I just covered them with water. The only thing I'm gonna do is add some salt, and I'm gonna put the lid on, bring them to a boil, and I'm gonna let them simmer about 20 minutes until they're soft, and then I'm gonna add the extra ingredients, and that's it. Again, super easy side dish. Okay, so the potatoes are done cooking now. 20 minutes, waited on that. And you can see I pressed it and it smashed really easily, so I just take it to the sink with the lid on, and I'm gonna dump that water out and get it ready to be prepared into mashed potatoes. So I use my KitchenAid mixer and basically just pour the potatoes in there. And I'm going to go ahead and get myself a little spoon and scrape the last of the potatoes in. There we go. And then before we start mixing them up, I have to get all of the additional ingredients. And of course, butter is a major one. So I use just half a stick of butter for these potatoes. I'm not going to give you a particular recipe because, you know, it depends on how many potatoes you use. There's my heavy whipping cream. I'm just going to tell you some basics. We've got salt, we've got pepper. I always put onion powder in, and I actually really like the flavor of nutritional yeast, which I started using when I was vegan, and I just think it really adds something to it. And of course I cover because the butter likes to pop up, and gotta make sure it doesn't get all over the counter. But this is actually a really easy, like I said, side dish because it doesn't take a ton of ingredients. It's not complicated. You boil the potatoes, you mash them up, you put your seasonings in it, and there you go. You're done. It's a delicious, tasty side dish all ready to go. Look at how beautiful that is. So on the stove, of course, I've got my potatoes, I got my broccoli cooking, and here is my roast chicken that's already done. So we're going to go ahead and get that ready to be cut up. Of course, I hit the camera. So I was going to do it in the pan, and as I started doing it, I was thinking, you know, I've really got to make that gravy. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the liquid out, get it started, and then I'm going to worry about cutting up the chicken a little bit later. So I actually went and grabbed myself a plate, and then I went ahead and just cut the legs off because that's, you know, easy to get that done. And then I'm going to take the rest of the chicken out rather than cutting the breast and everything off. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out, and then I'm going to take the liquid and pour it into a measuring cup because I'm going to use that to make my gravy. I also have a recipe on how to make pan gravy that I will link at the top if you want to see a full recipe, because honestly I really eyeball it. So like I'm taking these rolls out because I just heated them up. They were pre-made rolls. But here I am making the gravy, and that's fat. That's fat that I had from broth that I had canned. I put some flour in it just to make that little roux, and there I'm using that liquid from the chicken to make the rest of the gravy. And like I said, I really eyeball it, but I do have a recipe that you can watch. And again, salt, onion powder, and pepper. I keep it really simple with the seasonings. And like I said, I really just eyeball the texture. I want to make sure it's exactly right. I give it a taste, add a little extra salt, and that's it. We're done with the gravy, and there's the whole meal looking very beautiful. I, of course, eat the leg, and Rick has a separate dish, and he likes white meat, so he has a breast. So we made dinner together, and I have my beautiful plate. You guys can see that, right? My chicken. Oh, Rick likes his plate. Broccoli, mashed potatoes, gravy, and a roll. Nothing too terribly fancy, but it feels fancy.
Oh, don't say that.
What?
It's Thanksgiving.
Close.
In January.
I mean, it's similar.
Huh?
But anyway.
We're the Pilgrims. You know?
I'm thankful, and I'm ready to eat.
Yes.
So, we're not going to hang out long, but I just wanted to say thank you for joining me while we made dinner. And
we're not going to hang out with them, or we're not going to hang out.
Well, we're going to hang out.
Yeah, we better. We've been hanging out a couple.
I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we have been together this year 25 years. It's unbelievable.
My heart just swelled up.
With joy?
With joy. Yeah, swelled up. It didn't like crack or nothing. Anyway. All
right, well, we're going to eat our dinner.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. I can cook because I already took a taste of that chicken. It is so stinking good. Y'all want to try that. So, all right, you have a good night. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.